Hello and welcome to part 4 of WWE 2K20 Universe Mode. We are here to determine Raw's first World Heavyweight Champion. And what a way to kick it off than with the Beast Slayer. Coming to burn it down here at Money in the Bank. Seth freaking Rollins. Seth Rollins, of course, wasn't in the top 5 of Raw's draft picks this year, but because Seth Rollins, he's a former world champion, he's still one of Raw's top stars. He's in this match regardless.
Making his way to the ring from Davenport, Iowa, weighing in at 217 pounds, Seth Rollins!
And Seth Rollins, of course, one of 3 men here in this match, is looking to become Raw's first World Heavyweight Champion. And he's got some very tough competition to go through to do it. But he's Seth Rollins. He burns it down. He doesn't back down from a fight. And if anyone can do it, it's him. The Beast Slayer. Looking to become... Well, he's wearing his championship golds. Ready to have that World Heavyweight Championship. That big gold belt, as they call it, around his waist at the end of the night. But this man may have something to say about it.
First, from Aberdeen, Washington, weighing in at 210 pounds, Daniel Bryan.
Of course, Daniel Bryan in this triple threat match here tonight, by proxy of being the World Heavyweight Champion in 2K19. So he's looking to pick up where he left off and carry on his quest to make WWE more eco-friendly and push his agenda on the WWE Universe as the World Heavyweight Champion. Of course, it is luck for either Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, or the third person, Randy Orton, in this match here tonight, because they're going on before the Money in the Bank ladder match. So they can get home safely knowing that they're not going to be cashed in on tonight. But come tomorrow night on Raw, that's a completely different story, because there will be a Mr. Money in the Bank breathing down their neck. And that will be one of 8 different people. 8 different up-and-coming Raw stars. So you only got to have the strength and will to win here tonight. You got to have the strength and will to be cunning, to watch your back at all times for the Money in the Bank, which is something all 3 of these men know a little something about.
And from St. Louis, Missouri, weighing in at 250 pounds, the Viper, Randy Orton!
Interesting factoid that this match is happening at Money in the Bank, and we did talk about Mr. Money in the Bank's cashing in on the champion, is all 3 of these men have both cashed in and been cashed in on by Money in the Bank in their career before. So they know a thing or two about both ends of looking out and watching your back and picking the best time to cash in. So it won't be easy for Mr. Money in the Bank to get a victory over either of these 3 gentlemen. But that's the later on tonight. That's the main event for Raw. Right now, it's all about the World Heavyweight Championship. Randy Orton looking focused. Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins. One of these men will be the World Heavyweight Champion. Randy Orton, of course, I believe was Raw's 4th overall draft pick. He actually went highest out of every single person in this match. So whether or not that makes him the favourite, that's up to you. Whether experience makes him the favourite, whether size makes him the favourite. Got a lot of things going for him, this man. You could argue one thing he's not got on his side right now is momentum. That would probably favour Seth freaking Rollins. As the crowd agrees as they chant "Burn It Down" in support of the former Universal Champion. And there is the lovely World Heavyweight Championship. A title which Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan have held before. Seth Rollins never held the big gold belt. Who will be your first World Heavyweight Champion? We find out right now. The bell rings. Orton pounces on Bryan as he comes charging straight at him. And Rollins just watches on as he picks his best time to go for a suplex. But Orton needs him in the head. As Randall Keith Orton. Another suplex. He's now in control of this match in the early going. Just the way that the Viper would want it to be. He picks up Rollins. And just tosses him over. Fall away slam. As he rolls to the ropes. Bryan scoops onto the back. Reverse DDT taking the Viper down. Grounding his offense. For the time being. When it comes to grounded offense, there aren't many on the planet better than Daniel Bryan. As Rollins sends him into the corner. Bryan pushes him off. There's a big charging forearm. As Rollins goes to the outside. It's now does a Randy Orton and Daniel Bryan. These two certainly have their history. There's a big elbow to the knee. Uppercut by Orton. He picks Bryan up. Into a neck breaker sort of position. As Bryan takes a rest now. Orton going for the neck breaker. Rollins came in to sort of distract him. Didn't work. Once the Viper has his sights set on delivering damage, there isn't much that can get in his way. Oh, big clothesline as Rollins goes for a face plant. Orton in control in the early going. There's a jawbreaker by Seth as Orton calls him to his feet. There's a DDT, busting the Viper open there. Rollins again, waiting for Orton to get to his knees. There's a Shining Wizard. And back and forth again, the momentum swings like a pendulum. Orton 2 clotheslines, one to Bryan and one to Rollins. He waits in the corner for one of his opponents to rise to their feet so he can pick them apart. Yet again, another running clothesline by Orton as Rollins takes him down with a spinning kick. Into a fireman's carry. Orton elbow to the face. He fights Seth off. Seth fights him off. Very even now. As Orton reverses the DDT into a DDT of his own. But he uppercuts Rollins into the ropes. And a big clothesline sends the Beast Slayer packing for the time being. Now Bryan on top. He just tosses Orton over his shoulder. The strength of somebody Daniel Bryan's size, he ought to do that to somebody of Randy Orton's size. It's overlooked a lot, I think. People look at Bryan and they sort of write him off, but he has to have a little bit of strength in that little body. Rollins picks up Bryan, puts him into the corner, just tosses him to the floor. And there's the Shiranui into the pinfall. Orton still stayed in the corner. Bryan kicks out 1. Rollins going for a DDT, planting the Viper down, but Bryan's back to his feet. He kipped up. Rollins manages to catch him before any damage can be done. Snap suplex. And now Seth. He has his choice of either Randy Orton or Daniel Bryan. He picks Bryan with a moonsault into the cover. 1. Just the 1. He's got Bryan, his head between his legs. He fights it out. He was going to give a couple of elbows to the temple. Rollins tosses him over his shoulder. Goes for a punch. There's a reply by Bryan. Goes for a forearm. Close under the back of the head. Jawbreaker by Seth as Orton comes in. There's a drop kick. Seth Rollins goes up top now. What's he thinking here? Big frog splash to the Viper. That could be it. Orton kicks out early though. You see the thing with kicking out early, it does definitely get into Seth's head. Rollins probably thought he had Orton beat there, and Orton kicking out so emphatically tells him, no, this is far from over. Or is it? Bryan goes for the heel hook. Orton's down. Still off that frog splash. Orton's down. Will Rollins submit here? He does! Orton goes for an RKO out of spite and kicks Bryan. But Daniel Bryan, nonetheless, has just made Seth Rollins submit. And he's the World Heavyweight Champion yet again. Just where we left off last year in Universe Mode. Daniel Bryan himself, the World Heavyweight Champion for Monday Night Raw. Well, that big frog splash, that's what took Orton out in the end. We were bigging Orton up after he kicked out of that, thinking he was playing mind games, but turns out that was what put him down, because Bryan snuck in through the back door, made Seth Rollins submit with the heel hook, as the new Daniel Bryan is your World Heavyweight Champion for Universe Mode in 2K20. And with the Money in the Bank ladder match coming up in the next part for Raw, we know for a fact he's at least going to make it out tonight, still with the champion. So that's 7 out of our 8 champions crowned. As coming up next, we determine the WWE Champion.
We just crowned our first World Heavyweight Champion, but now it's time for Money in the Bank to fade to black as SmackDown's #1 draft pick emerges from the darkness in search of the shiny light of title gold. Dutch Destroyer Aleister Black, former NXT champion, has the chance to become the face of the blue brand and win the WWE Championship here tonight. The ominous man from Amsterdam looks cold, as he always does, but he may well have that title belt to keep him warm at night if he can emerge victorious here tonight. And my voice is just completely randomly just gone for some reason. There we go. Can't be bothered starting again. Anyway, Aleister Black. Thought that was the fairest way to decide our first top champion, was to pick the 2 top guys. The 2 guys that were drafted first. That makes the most sense to me. And this guy was #1. For many reasons. For me, he is the total package in a wrestler. But it won't be easy tonight, because his opponent is of course the #2 SmackDown draft pick. We will meet in just a moment as Aleister Black stares down the ramp as the original bro, Matthew Riddle, comes out onto the stage. There he is, in his trademark jacket and flip-flops.
From Las Vegas, Nevada, weighing in at 216 pounds.
And a big opportunity for Riddle to capture his first title in WWE. What would a SmackDown led by this man look like? We could well find out by the end of Money in the Bank. Two contrasting personalities, to say the least. The dark, ominous, mysterious Aleister Black. It's the outgoing King of Bros. As we see, that is what is on the line. The WWE Championship. Black and Riddle. Referee rings the bell and we are off. And it's Aleister Black with the first offense, a snapmare. Riddle kicks out, or gets out of it. And a takedown. And look for the striking game of Aleister Black to try and combat the grappling game of Matt Riddle. Although it would be a bit naive to say neither of these men can adapt to the other. I'm sure Riddle is perfectly happy striking, as he just proved there with that knee to the face. Black whips him over the ropes. Takes aim and takes a bit of a cheap shot. And Riddle steps down out the ring, gets back in, mind games from the Bro, and on arrival just a fist to the face. Float over into the DDT from Black. We've already seen on SmackDown, Revival have been crowned SmackDown Tag Team Champions. SmackDown Women's Champion is Rhea Ripley. And Drew Gulak is your Intercontinental Champion after that great match against Tyler Bate. And now the fourth and final championship is about to be won by one of these two men. And whoever wins is going to have a target on their back from whoever wins the next match, which will be the next episode of Universe Mode, which will be the Money in the Bank ladder match. Of course, Raw will have theirs as well. SmackDown, we've already announced AJ Styles will be in that Money in the Bank ladder match for SmackDown. There'll also be 7 other men as well. There's a back suplex from Riddle, and Riddle's been on top here, very much in the driver's seat, as they say. Misses with the punch. He's going to go for it again. Goes for a chop in the corner, and now belly to belly throw across the ring. And Black needs to get his act together here. Fights out of that one. But Riddle back on offense with a clothesline. Gets him up. And with the German suplex. Could Black be in trouble early on? We've only been going a couple of minutes. Could this be a quick win for Riddle? Hooks up for the Bro Derek. Lands it. Ref gets down for the count. 1, 2. Black kicks out at 2. And that very easily could have been a quick win for Riddle, who continues his offense with a senton off the top, or off the second rope. And Black has not got going at all, although he has just got down. And he needs to start taking advantage. Riddle counters. Black blocks, throwing a big clothesline into the corner. And a powerbomb. And as we've mentioned previously, with the big impetus on match records on SmackDown that I'm going to be implementing. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then either go back and watch episode 1, which is the tag title match where I explain it a bit more in depth, or just wait for the TV episodes and you'll get to know what I'm sort of referring to. But whoever loses this, that's one in the lost column, and that pretty much puts them at the back of the line immediately. Because other than the Street Profits, who are a tag team, Ronda Rousey, who is in the women's division, and young Tyler Bate, they'll be the only guys with a loss. Of course, as well, there'll be 7 other guys from the Money in the Bank who'll have a loss, but Black now goes for a spinning knee. He needs to start taking advantage of Riddle while he can. Riddle with a throw. It'll be interesting to see the next pay-per-view, which is going to be Super Showdown. Who is going to challenge either of these men for the WWE Championship at that show? That's going to be interesting to see. We'll obviously be determining that over the course of 4 weeks of TV that follow this pay-per-view. Black now in command. Can he take advantage though? Riddle with 2 elbows to the back of the head. I'm getting a bit confused. Eventually Black manages to knock Riddle down, but Riddle with the arm drag. And positions Black in on the ropes. Going to go for... He's going to hang him up on the top. And just driving knees into the head of Alistair. Knocks him outside the ring. As we mentioned in the Intercontinental title match, because there is no champion, the title can change hands on a count out, obviously. Well, not change hands, but you know what I mean. The winner can win. And Matt Riddle just nailed a tombstone piledriver on the outside. I think if he wanted to, he probably could. He'd just leave Black there after that. But seemingly doesn't want to do that. Wants to win this match the right way. And that is what we want from a WWE champion. Doesn't bridge into the pinfall off of that. And he's going to go for it. Lifting Riddle up with his foot. And the devastating Black Mass. The only man to ever kick out of this is Lars Sullivan. Can Riddle do that? Yes, he can at 2. Black has kicked out of a Bro Derek, and now Riddle has kicked out of a Black Mass. And both of these men going through wars to get to that WWE title and become the top guy on SmackDown. Double foot stomp from Black. Riddle dodges the kick and lands a Black Mass of his own. And hang on just a minute, because Matt Riddle just nailed Aleister Black with his own finisher. And he's going for the pinfall. And Matt Riddle is your new WWE champion, your first WWE champion. And he did it with Aleister Black's own move. Wow. And that concludes this episode of Money in the Bank. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button. Subscribe for the next one. Obviously, tomorrow will be the Money in the Bank ladder match. Follow us on Twitter at WrestleVision YT. Because going into this one, you'd have thought Black would have the mind game's advantage, but Matt Riddle just played the ultimate mind game. Put Aleister away with the Black Mass to win the WWE Championship.